The president then distributed copies of the termination letter he had drafted with Mueller, and the discussion turned to the mechanics of how to fire Comey and whether the president's letter should be used. McGahn and Dillon urged the president to permit Comey to resign, but the president was adamant that he be fired. The group discussed the possibility that Rosenstein and Sessions could provide a recommendation in writing that Comey should be removed. The president agreed and told Rosenstein to draft a memorandum, but said he wanted to receive it first thing the next morning. Hunt's notes reflect that the president told Rosenstein to include in his recommendation the fact that Comey had refused to confirm that the president was not personally under investigation. According to notes taken by senior DOJ official of Rosenstein's description of his meeting with the president said, quote, "Put the Russia stuff in the memo," close quote. Rosenstein responded that the Russia investigation was not the basis of his recommendation, so he did not think Russia should be mentioned. The president told Rosenstein he would appreciate it if Rosenstein put it in his letter anyway. When Rosenstein left the meeting, he knew that Comey would be terminated, and he told DOJ colleagues that his own reasons for replacing Comey were, quote, "not the president's reasons," close quote. On May 9th, Hunt delivered to the White House a letter from Sessions recommending Comey's removal and a memorandum from Rosenstein, addressed to the Attorney General, titled "Restoring Public Confidence in the FBI." McGahn recalled that the president liked the DOJ letters and agreed that they should provide the foundation for a new cover letter from the president accepting the recommendation to terminate Comey. Notes taken by Donaldson on May 9th reflected the view of the White House counsel's office that the president's original termination letter should not see the light of day, and it would be better to offer, quote, "no other rationales," close quote, for the firing than what was in Rosenstein's and Sessions' memorandum. The president asked Mueller to draft a new termination letter and directed Mueller to say in the letter that Comey had informed the president 3 times that he was not under investigation. McGahn, Priebus, and Dillon objected to including that language, but the president insisted that it be included. McGahn, Priebus, and others perceived that language to be the most important part of the letter to the president. Dillon made a final pitch to the president that Comey should be permitted to resign, but the president refused. Around the time the president's letter was finalized, Priebus summoned Spicer and the press team to the Oval Office, where they were told that Comey had been terminated for the reasons stated in the letters by Rosenstein and Sessions. To announce Comey's termination, the White House released a statement, which Priebus thought had been dictated by the president. In full, the statement read, quote, "Today, President Donald J. Trump informed FBI Director James Comey that he has been terminated and removed from office. President Trump acted based on the clear recommendation of both Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and Attorney General Jeff Sessions." Close quote. That evening, FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was summoned to meet with the president at the White House. The president told McCabe that he had fired Comey because of the decisions Comey had made in the Clinton email investigation and for many other reasons. The president asked McCabe if he was aware that Comey had told the president 3 times that he was not under investigation. The president also asked McCabe whether many people in the FBI disliked Comey and whether McCabe was part of the resistance that had disagreed with Comey's decisions in the Clinton investigation. McCabe told the president that he knew Comey had told the president he was not under investigation, that most people in the FBI felt positively about Comey, and that McCabe worked very closely with Comey and was part of all the decisions that had been made in the Clinton investigation. Later that evening, the president told his communications team he was unhappy with the press coverage of Comey's termination and ordered them to go out and defend him. The president also called Chris Christie, and according to Christie, said he was getting killed in the press over Comey's termination. The president asked what he should do. Christie asked, "Did you fire Comey because of what Rod wrote in the memo?" And the president responded, "Yes." Christie said that the president should get Rod out of here, or get Rod out of there, and have him defend the decision. The president told Christie that this was a good idea and said he was going to call Rosenstein right away. That night, the White House press office called the Department of Justice and said the White House wanted to put out a statement saying that it was Rosenstein's idea to fire Comey. Rosenstein told other DOJ officials that he would not participate in putting out a false story. The president then called Rosenstein directly and said he was watching Fox News, that the coverage had been great, and that he wanted Rosenstein to do a press conference. Rosenstein responded that this was not a good idea because if the press asked him, he would tell the truth, that Comey's firing was not his idea. Sessions also informed the White House counsel's office that evening that Rosenstein was upset that his memorandum was being portrayed as the reason for Comey's termination. In an unplanned press conference late in the evening of May 9, 2017, Spicer told reporters, quote, "It was all Rosenstein, no one from the White House. It was a DOJ decision," close quote. That evening and the next morning, White House officials and spokespeople continued to maintain that the president's decision to terminate Comey was driven by the recommendations the president received from Rosenstein and Sessions. In the morning on May 10, 2017, President Trump met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Russian Ambassador Sergei Kishlak in the Oval Office. The media subsequently reported that during the May 10th meeting, the president brought up his decision the prior day to terminate Comey, telling Lavrov and Kishlak, "I just fired the head of the FBI. He was crazy, a real nut job. I faced great pressure because of Russia. That's taken off. I'm not under investigation." Close quote. The president never denied making those statements, and the White House did not dispute the account, instead issuing a statement that said, quote, "By grandstanding and politicizing the investigation into Russia's actions, James Comey created unnecessary pressure on our ability to engage and negotiate with Russia. The investigation would have always continued, and obviously the termination of Comey would not have ended it. Once again, the real story is that our national security has been undermined but the leaking of private and highly classified information. Hicks said that when she told the president about the reports on his meeting with Lavrov, he did not look concerned and said of Comey, quote, "He is crazy," close quote. When McGahn asked the president about his comments to Lavrov, the president said it was good that Comey was fired because that took the pressure off by making it clear that he was not under investigation, so he would get more work done. That same morning, on May 10, 2017, the president called McCabe. According to a memorandum McCabe wrote following the call, the president asked McCabe to come over to the White House to discuss whether the president should visit FBI headquarters and make a speech to employees. The president said he had received hundreds of messages from FBI employees indicating their support for terminating Comey. The president also told McCabe that Comey should not have been permitted to travel back to Washington, D.C. on the FBI's airplane after he had been terminated, and that he did not want Comey, quote, in the building again, close quote, even to collect his belongings. When McCabe met with the president that afternoon, the president, without prompting, told McCabe that people in the FBI loved the president, estimated that at least 80% of the FBI had voted for him, and asked McCabe who he had voted for in the 2016 presidential election.